flooding across the Texas Hill Country continues. The city of Corpus Christi will open its filing period for mayoral and council member elections. And SpaceX scrubs its latest flight seconds before blastoff. Plus, a Corpus Christi-stationed Coast Guard rescue swimmer receives a prestigious award. This is South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Thank you for joining me on this Friday, July 17th. Dangerous flooding continues across the Texas Hill Country and southwest Texas, even as the heaviest rain begins to move out. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies has more.
At least 2 people have died after being swept away in the floodwaters. State officials say emergency crews have conducted more than 230 rescues. This after some areas in the region known as Flash Flood Alley received over 20 inches of rain. The National Weather Service says moderate to major flooding is occurring or is forecast along the Guadalupe, Nueces, Frio, Medina, Pedernales, and San Antonio rivers. Residents are being warned to avoid flooded roads and remain alert for downstream river surges. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
25 News Now reports that DeWitt and Victoria counties are monitoring flooding along the Guadalupe River. Officials said Canyon Lake is expected to absorb much of the flow moving downstream, which could lessen immediate effects in those 2 counties. Ongoing flooding across central and south Texas led the state's agriculture commissioner to declare an agriculture emergency Thursday. DeWitt, Goliad, Jackson, Lavaca, Matagorda, Victoria, and Wharton counties were all included in the emergency declaration. It activates the Texas Department of Agriculture relief resources to help ranchers, farmers, and agribusinesses recover from flood-related damages. Commissioner Sid Miller says it's too early to know the full extent floods have caused to farms and ranches in its path, but he thinks it could potentially rival last year's devastating July 4th flooding.
I think it's going to be comparable. I really do. I think the magnitude of the floods is just as bad, looks like.
Several recovery resources activated include a hay and feed hotline to coordinate donations and funding to help producers recover from uninsured losses like damaged fencing. Also activated is the state's Agri-Stress Helpline, which provides mental health support for farmers and ranchers and help connecting them with disaster assistance programs. Officials say damage assessments likely won't begin until recovery efforts can safely get underway. Meanwhile, back in Corpus Christi, beginning Monday, the city will open its filing period to apply for candidacy in the upcoming mayoral or council member elections. It begins at 8 a.m. Monday. Potential candidates must submit their applications no later than 5 p.m. August 17th. Candidates' applications and requirements for filing are available in the 2026 candidate packet on either the city secretary's website or in paper form at the city secretary's office at City Hall during regular business hours. A $100 filing fee for a candidate's application must be paid with cash, money order, or cashier's check. Personal and business checks are not accepted. Candidates may also submit a petition instead of filing fees, following instructions in the candidate packet. In the Rio Grande Valley, SpaceX scrubbed Starship's latest flight seconds before blastoff on Thursday. Engine problems kept the rocket on the ground at the city of Starbase. 4 main engines did not ignite, which shut down the other 29 amid clouds of smoke and vapor. The launch team immediately drained fuel from the rocket. The scrubbed launch was the first ever to be canceled after Starship's Raptor engines had ignited. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk told the Associated Press that 2 engines will be replaced for the next flight. A new launch date has not been set. The Corpus Christi Independent School District is moving further into the world of digital education with the start of its new Digital Scholars Academy this year. KEDT's Lon Gonzalez has the details.
One of the best aspects of working within a digital realm is its ease and convenience. Now, the Corpus Christi Independent School District is moving further into the digital universe with the start of the district's first Digital Scholars Academy.
The Digital Scholars Academy is a no-cost, tuition-free online school of choice that offers flexibility electronically, virtually, or potentially even a hybrid approach in which it is that can support a high school student, grades 10 through 12, in whatever capacity that they might need.
That's Dr. Tracy Rodriguez, director of the CCISD's Early College High School program. The Digital Scholars Academy offers certain students the opportunity to be involved in virtual classroom work without the actual classroom. Dr. Rodriguez adds this assists a student who may have outside responsibilities.
Our goal is for students to start the journey with us sooner rather than later, to get acclimated into the environment, the online environment specifically, to really customize a school schedule that's going to be flexible enough for them, that's going to work well with any personal responsibilities maybe outside of school.
Students in the DSA will attend to high school courses online at the times that students are available. The opportunity the program presents helps both student and school district. Parents of students in the program are also instrumental, serving as guardian support coach for their kids. The student household must have internet and computers to participate, while instructors check on students daily. Checks on parents assisting comes every 3 weeks.
So to start the process, together we will come up with a customized plan, schedule, and even talk about future ambitions for career or college pathway. Our partner with Del Mar College offers an array of opportunities in which it is can support not only online students, but maybe they want to go do a more technical field.
The Digital Scholars Academy is an extension of the early college high school curriculum, which has been around in the CCISD for almost 20 years. The program gives selected students exposure to college classes and possible career opportunities.
The goal is for students to capture some credentials while in high school as they pursue their future ambitions. If this can be a stepping stone for those students who may have different needs in the way of time, the Digital Scholars Academy complements it because it can work around their own personal schedules.
Dr. Rodriguez adds that the program is new to the CCISD and starting with only 50 students, with the hopes that a tailored approach to each student will be beneficial to both school district and its students. Applications are being considered and can be found on the district's website, with classes starting August 11th. I'm Lon Gonzalez for KEDT News.
In state news, Todd Blanche, President Trump's nominee for Attorney General and the president's personal attorney, is facing a very close vote in the Senate Judiciary Committee. Houston Public Media's Andrew Schneider reports the outcome of the vote may hinge on one senator, Texas's John Cornyn.
Cornyn drew an admission from Blanche during his confirmation hearing that Trump could still enforce the Justice Department's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund after Blanche initially said the fund was dead. The fund was created in May as a vehicle to settle Trump's lawsuit against the IRS. It also included a provision immunizing Trump, his family members, and his businesses from IRS audits. Here's University of Richmond law professor Carl Tobias.
Blanche actually wrote that as an addendum to his earlier order on the anti-weaponization fund.
Republicans have a majority of one vote on the Judiciary Committee following the death of South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. I'm Andrew Schneider in Houston.
Camp Mystic's owners have moved one wrongful death lawsuit over last year's deadly Hill Country flood to federal court and are trying to move 4 others. The Texas Newsroom's Lucio Vasquez reports.
The families that are suing accuse Camp Mystic of failing to protect their children during the flood, which killed 25 campers and 2 counselors. A state court hearing for one of those cases was originally scheduled for Wednesday, but it was canceled after Camp Mystic successfully argued that the lawsuits are tied to the camp's ongoing bankruptcy and should be handled in federal court. Attorneys for the families disagree and say they plan to ask a federal judge to send their case back to state court. The lawsuits have largely been on hold ever since the popular all-girls summer camp filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last month. Now Camp Mystic is considering reorganizing or selling off its assets. I'm Lucio Vasquez in Houston.
And on the note of Camp Mystic, a U.S. Coast Guard rescue swimmer stationed in Corpus Christi was honored during the ESPYS with one of the nation's highest awards for service. Petty Officer Scott Ruskin received the Pat Tillman Award for Service on Wednesday. The award highlighted his actions during the Texas floods last summer. Ruskin saved 165 victims at Camp Mystic. It was also his first ever mission with the Coast Guard.
If the stage behind me was big enough and we had enough tickets, there would be 100 people standing behind me today that saved lives, many of whom are working now in a current flood mission going on in Texas.
That was Ruskin during his acceptance speech, audio courtesy of ABC. Ruskin recognized the work of camp counselors who sprung to action to move as many campers as possible before crews arrived on scene. He also explained how helicopters and air support worked together to rescue flood victims while Ruskin worked on a plan from the ground level. The service award is named for former Arizona Cardinal Pat Tillman, who enlisted in the Army in spring 2002 after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.